And welcome back to Fenrir, guys, and welcome back to the Rescue Diaries. Today we're back at one of the shelters that I volunteer my time at, and we are getting a few dogs out to try and help them find their forever homes. The first dog that we've been asked to work with today is a beautiful Saluki cross, we believe she is, called Peppa. And we want to make sure that we can get her a wonderful forever home and do whatever it takes to help her achieve that. So as is always the case, what I want to do is do an initial temperament assessment with her. I then want to do any kind of behaviour modification that's relevant to try and fix any issues as quick as possible. Then we're going to hand her over to Joe to do some training stuff with her and see if there's anything that we can do to help prepare her and find a forever home quickly. Now, as is always the case, when we go and get them out the kennels, from the second I meet them, I always want to make sure that I am promoting positive, assertive leadership. So my body language is nice and big and assertive, but yet calm and relaxed. And I always try and maintain that, and then from the first second that we meet, I'm always observing. So when I'm getting them out of the kennel, have we got any territorial aggression towards the kennel, any territorial reactivity towards the kennel? None with Peppa whatsoever. Then we wanted to assess if we got any reactivity towards other dogs, and bringing them from the kennel into this little training paddock we've got here is a really good time to assess that, because we have to pass so many dogs that are barking. None of that whatsoever either. So now we're into the paddock, I've got a little bit more time to really work out what's going on, and I can tell you that straight away we have an incredibly fearful and anxious dog on our hands here. And what you'll notice is that she's very skittish, her ears are pinned back, her body language is exuding fear and anxiety. She's going for number 2, as is always the case, never film with children or animals, but that in itself could be a response to fear. She might just need a number 2, or she might be so overwhelmed with fear. That is a behaviour that happens quite commonly. So what I want to be assessing here is, where is that fear and anxiety stemming from? And what I'll usually try and quickly assess is there any form of engagement with myself? And that's what I'm noticing straight off the bat, that there just simply isn't any. She's anxious, she's fearful, she's skittish, she's moving around, she's looking around, but at no point is she looking up to me for guidance and direction. So the last thing I want to assess with her is, after she's finished doing her business, is do we have any resource guarding type behaviours to be concerned about? I'm 99% sure that we're not going to have any, based on just my experience and what we already know about her. But what I absolutely need to do here with her is give her someone to look up to for guidance and direction in myself. The mistake that far too many people make, and it would be really easy with her just because she's a beautiful, glorious, small dog, and she is very clearly afraid and anxious, would be to pander to her, to really start to baby her, to want to cuddle her, to want to just get down and just be with her. But all that's going to do is just going to reinforce that anxiety and fear, and it's not going to help address the anxiety and fear. To address the anxiety and fear, I need to, rather than come in and pander on her and love on her too much, I need to come in and give her some really clear, assertive guidance and direction, have her understand she can look up to me for guidance and direction. And then that anxiety and fear will start to come away. And when that comes away, at that point, then I can start to pour on the praise, the reinforcement, some physical touch, some physical talk, and let her know she's doing a great job, but only when she's starting to work with me, only when she's starting to engage with me. So what I'm going to try and do first of all, just for the resource guarding type situation, we're going to see if we've got any toy drive or food drive. There is no food drive. We tested it when we were coming out, but that can often, again, result from fear and anxiety, because when you're in that fight or flight based response, when your anxiety's up, when your fear's up, your appetite soon diminishes and you're not bothered. So we're going to see if we can get any attention on a ball. So straight away, we've got a little peak of interest there. Oh, yes. And quite quickly turned off. I think that once I build that relationship with her, once I start getting her working with me and start to de-stress her and remove some of that anxiety, I think we could get her playing with that ball, because it did definitely pique her interest, but then the anxiety kind of squashed that interest. So for me, there's no point in messing around here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into my tune-up drill. What that tune-up drill is going to do is utilising a balanced approach. There is going to be some corrections. I am using my slip lead. I need nothing more than a slip lead to definitely address this. We're going to do my tune-up, and that tune-up essentially is a directional change tune-up, in which if she isn't working with me and paying attention and focusing on me, my simple act of me turning and moving in another direction will create a little bit of lead pressure. That lead pressure will inherently correct her not paying attention to me. And by wanting to avoid the lead pressure and that lead correction, she'll start to engage with me and pay attention to me. When she's then engaging with me and paying attention to me, I'll start to pay and praise that. And that is what will really quickly come in and instill some leadership on my part, which will build a relationship based on leadership, which will then allow us to communicate, and then we'll really be able to help her overcome whatever it is that's causing this anxiety and stress. Started my basic kind of directional change tune-up drill. And what we did was we went straight into it with no food, no reinforcement, just going and using nothing but calm, assertive body language. And already you can see that I'm starting to get just much better engagement. She's starting to be in tune with me. And from the dog you saw earlier that was skittish and all over the place, she's now starting to look up to me for guidance and direction. Obviously there's traffic going by and I'm going to wait until I get that better. There we go. Yes, good. Good girl. Good. And I've built this purely with no food, nothing more than leadership. And you can start to see now that she's going to naturally become more relaxed. Let's go. Yes, good girl. Oh, good girl, thank you. Oh, good girl. The tail's starting to wag and she's starting to become a happier dog. Now this is a good opportunity. Good. Good. Yes, thank you, good girl. Oh, good girl. Yes, thank you. So what a beautiful example there of how to teach a dog not to jump up. So yes, I utilised the physical correction there and I paired it with my verbal correction. What you're probably going to find is when you work with dogs like this, you don't know what kind of behaviours that they struggle with until you start to get them out. Now, from that little bit of correction alone, the dog's going to start to learn that what she wants is that physical praise. I gave her some physical praise and I removed it, and she followed me up by jumping up. But then what I did was I instilled a little bit of a verbal correction with just a little bit of lead pressure, just to let her know, hey, no, that's not acceptable. That's not how we get my praise. That's not how you earn a reward from me, whether that's physical praise, verbal praise, or even if I want to pay that with food or with toys. But again, straight away, you can start to see that, look, she's just locked into me now. Again, a dog that wouldn't even look at me when we first brought her out, won't leave my side now and is ready to be engaged and work with me. Now, you can tell she's not scared of me because every time I want to give her some praise, the tail starts wagging. Yes. Oh, you're a good girl. Oh, you're a good girl. Now, what you might find here is another example of when I remove this, she might follow me up. And this time it didn't. What that is a testament to correcting bad behaviours when they happen. Don't feel bad about letting your dogs know that that's not acceptable. You just have to correct them fairly. So when she jumped up me, I showed you how I quickly, calmly and assertively, through good leadership, let her know, hey, that's not acceptable. But when you're paying attention to me, when you're relaxed, then I'm going to pay you and I'm going to praise you, and you're going to get the nice scratches behind the ear that you've always wanted and a little bit of fuss and praise when she's displaying the right behaviours. And that's all it is. It's just that principle of balance of when you display the wrong behaviours, we quickly address it and say, hey, no, that's not acceptable. When you display the desirable behaviours, we're going to let you know that that is acceptable. And now at this stage is when I'm going to start to bring a little bit of food into the equation. So Peppa, let's go. So a good example, so she's ignored. So I'm going to correct this with a bit of lead pressure. Yes. So, oh, good girl, yes. So then when she makes the desirable behaviour, I'm going to let her have a little lick on the treat. She doesn't have to have the whole thing. Because she's so gentle, I'm letting her just have a little bit of a taste and then it goes away because I'm using a bigger treat. Now she's displaying, yes, the desirable behaviours. Good. Now this time, Peppa, let's go. Oh, yes, good girl. Oh, thank you. Good girl. So again, in the matter of seconds, you've seen a bad behaviour of ignoring me be dealt with, hey, no, you need to pay attention to me. And then we go to replicate out that same behaviour, then it does happen. Let's go. Oh, good girl, yes. She's not upset, she's not offended, I've not scared her. You are seeing, the more I'm correcting the bad behaviours, the more I'm instilling calm, assertive leadership, the more I'm offering a good balance, the happier she's becoming. And now, when she's displaying these correct behaviours, now is the stage where I'm bringing food out. When she's displaying the bad behaviours and not engaging with me at the start of the session, I'm not dancing around with treats, trying to bribe that attention. I've demanded that attention as a calm, assertive leader. Now, when you offer me that naturally, at that point, I'm going to start to pay you for it. So again, oh, good girl, thank you, yes. Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you. And again, we can start now bringing food in. So again, she was pulling in all over the place, but now, let's go. Oh, yes, good, yes. Oh, good girl. Now I'll pay it because I didn't have to use any correction. She's in tune with me. She's engaging with me. Let's go. Oh, yes. Oh, good girl. Again, the essence of balance, being able to come in and quickly say, hey, no, not acceptable. Brilliant, that's really acceptable. It isn't rocket science, and you've seen that with a dog like this, that again, it was minutes ago. She was anxious, she was fearful, she was skittish. You could see from the body language that she didn't know what to do, she didn't know where to be. Whereas now, I talk about the weight of the world coming off a dog's shoulders when you come in and instill some calm, consistent leadership. I don't need to say any more. The proof is in the pudding. Calm, consistent leadership always wins. And because you are displaying such beautiful, calm, well-mannered, you can have the whole thing. And that's it. I'm going to wrap this video up there because that couldn't be more of a beautiful example of coming in, providing a dog that is riddled with fear and anxiety, nothing more than calm, assertive leadership for the first half of the session with no food reward. We built relationship and engagement, and then I've used that engagement to start working on what it is that I do want from her, built on that foundation of leadership. I've got her to a point where I'm super happy with her now. I've built engagement, I've tested a temperament, there's no significant behaviours for me to be concerned about. The only one was pulling that we've addressed through assertive leadership. I'm going to hand her off to Joe, our resident trainer now, who's going to now come in, layer up some obedience tricks, and in the next video you're going to see how he's probably going to be working on making sure that her name is rock solid, some sit work, some more formal heel work potentially, anything else that we've got time for, just to put as many things in her arsenal as possible so that when somebody does come to look around the shelter, they go, oh, she's adorable, she's gentle, she's kind, she's paying attention to me, she's engaging with me, oh, and she knows all these tricks and walks beautifully, yeah, I'll take her home today. That's our job, is to come in and in a short space of time be able to give her those things through calm, consistent leadership, because we love her and we want to see her find her forever home. Because as always, leadership is love.